Right, so another policy letdown has been sneaked out this morning by Keir Starmer in a wig, the equally nasal Shadow Chancellor Rachel Reeves, as Starmer's Labour have now announced they're pulling something of a David Cameron by echoing his mantra on the environment of cutting the green crap. The Green New Deal, renamed by Team Keith as the Green Prosperity Plan, so as to distance itself from Jeremy Corbyn, but still hang on to an appealing vote-winning policy, well, it's been essentially ditched on the basis that Rachel Reeves has decided saving the environment is now unaffordable. This is a position that up until yesterday she was supporting, yet today she called it reckless, no less. On Radio 4 this morning, having been asked by Justin Webb about the changes being announced to this plan, she said, the thing that is really important to ensure that we meet our fiscal rules, because they are so important. We saw what happened just last year when the Conservatives embarked on this mini budget of a load of unfunded commitments, that it crashed the markets and has resulted in that Tory mortgage penalty that we are all paying. We will ramp up to the £28 billion of investment in the opportunities, the industries of the future, and to reduce bills and secure our economics. In other words, you've ditched it, hiding behind an excuse of fiscal responsibility when there's nothing responsible about another government abandoning the environment. This is step one, incidentally, of binning a policy. Water it down a bit first, leave it until people have basically forgotten about it because it no longer registers as something remotely interesting, and then later just quietly abandon it completely. Reeves is getting her excuses in early doors. The plan was to invest £28 billion per year of a future Labour government on tackling climate change, and this has now basically changed to an aspiration to spend that over an unspecified amount of time by unspecified increments of spending on it in the meanwhile. Keir Starmer once said, because of course there's always a receipt to that man's dishonesty, isn't there? He said, we have to show that we're the party of the Green New Deal, where we no longer have to question or to debate whether it's good for the economy but bad for the environment. Not anymore. If it's bad for the environment, it's bad for the economy. Not anymore, he said. But that's when he was running to be Labour leader, of course, and not a single thing he said then as he kept his word on, and so this ought to come as no surprise whatsoever to a great many of us. It was a plan that was supposed to deliver zero carbon energy by 2030. Energy security, so no longer will be shafted by energy companies and volatile global energy markets. The creation of all new green jobs of the future and tackling the climate crisis, which is not going to go away. Now we can't afford it, says Rachel Reeves. Blame the Tories, she said, and their stupid Liz Truss budget. Well, no, I won't. Truss scared the market silly with unfunded tax cuts. Tax is a control on inflation. I seem to be repeating this an awful lot lately in videos. If you cut taxes, therefore, as a government, you are restricted from how much you can then spend. Unless Reeves is planning to cut taxes, the money can be printed for this. Heck, raise taxes where you can, where you should. A wealth tax on the very rich would raise billions right now. They've been making a hell of a lot of cash over the last 13 years of Tory rule. It's the rest of us that haven't. It's the rest of us that have suffered. Tax them until their pips squeak. We've a country to fix, and they've eaten all the proverbial pies. Time they went on a cash diet. That frees you up to print more money then and spend more, Rachel. This is how the economy rolls. You're an economist. You know this. But her fiscal rules, that's a cunning little line, isn't it? If I make up some rules for myself, which I then claim to be very, very important and things I cannot break, then I can hide behind that to excuse my party's dishonesty and its deceit and the fact we actually don't give a flying ferret about the environment, even if you do. I actually don't care what rules you set yourself, Rachel. The economy works in a very specific way, in that governments print money to pay for stuff. Taxation is then taken to balance that so as to not raise inflation. It is that simple. What you print money to spend on, therefore, is always a political choice at the end of the day. If you choose to cut taxes like the Tories repeatedly do, you're choosing to starve the country of investment. And we see that every day in all the services crumbling as a result. What Reeves is saying now is that Labour won't be any different. We will also underinvest. We'll blame the Tories for doing so, of course we will. But really it's because where we could raise taxes, we won't, because we want those rich people who are Tory donors now to become Labour donors later. Yet when you are taking funding in that way, you're essentially bought and paid for. Any party seeking private donations from the rich will only run a country in the interest of the rich, and all claims of putting the country first, the climate first in this case, become a sham. It's party first, always. If climate change, if cleaning up the environment is important to you, if you want to see a government actively do something to work towards fixing it, then voting for Starmer and Reeves is now a complete waste of your time. Vote Green. They've been staking their reputation on doing this. It was their very reason for coming into being. It's why that party exists. They've been planning for decades on how to fix the climate crisis. We've seen it coming. The damage that humanity has been doing to our climate and our planet has been known for decades. And they've got plans now for the entire economy. A party truly built for running things now as they are, capable of doing so, and absolutely are at local level across the UK. But in the interest of us all, and not a very rich few, which is likely why Labour across the country now would rather work with the Tories to freeze the Greens out in the interest of their own political ambitions and of those they've been bought and paid for by. Climate change is a can that cannot keep being kicked down the road. It's an issue that cannot afford either a Tory or a Labour government in this country now, such as those on offer. Right now, as a for instance, New York is currently choking on the smoke of Canadian wildfires linked to climate change. That's happening as a result of people following fiscal rules as well. It's not an issue that can wait anymore. Another Starmer pledge bites the dust. To coin the slogan of the furniture polish of the same name, you spray it on, you wipe it off, and the trust is gone. And after you've liked, shared, and subscribed to the channel, before you nip off YouTube to catch up on your own dusting because you've now just realised how much time you spent today watching these videos, watch this one here before you go to see why else Greens are terrifying establishment interests in the UK now. And I will see you on the next vid. Cheers, folks.